Hello to everybody. Welcome to this webinar. Today we are going to talk about the UAE market and Saudi Arabia market. I'll try to start slowly because we have a lot of connection, a lot of registered people, so we need to wait a little bit to that everybody can connect to the webinar. In the meantime, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Mauro Mandelli, a partner of Jane Emirates, and on the other side of the screen, there is Kamal Hakim, my colleague, that is actually is American, but is fluent in English, of course, and also in Arabic. And okay, who we are? We are a company that based also in Dubai. We have a branch in Dubai where there are people, our employees in Dubai, and that we support all the companies, European company, to have their own organization in Emirates and in Saudi. What we can say that our customer, all our customer has have a branch or LLC in these countries, or and they ask us to form a new corporation, or and most of them they have already a branch of that, and they call us to deliver some services as accounting and administration and to work for the organization. So what we are going to talk today, first of all, we introduce a little bit the GNMS, then I will ask my colleague to talk about how to make business in Emirates. Then I will talk a lot regarding Saudi Arabia and what are the projects that are in place at the moment, and how it's possible to make business, and how it is possible to establish a subsidiary in Saudi. At the same time, if for people that are not English, they can follow us through in following the subtitle in their own languages. So we have an AI tool through Zoom that allows that translate simultaneously the what we say in your own language. So if you want, you can follow us in your own language, clicking at the bottom where it is circled Mostra sottotitoli, and then you choose flag the translation button, and also choose your own language. In this way, you can follow us in your own language. Why why companies decide to choose us? Why they buy our services? First of all, because we have a lot of knowledge in this area of the world. We work a lot with the companies, European companies that are established already in these countries, and so we have we in the past 20 years we have built up a lot of knowledge regarding how to make business in these countries. Also, what we do every day is support companies in many services. All the company knows that when you have to sell, when you have a branch, when you have a LLC outside of your own country, you need a lot of different services. So we are a one-stop source company. It means that you can refer to us for all the services that you need when you want to sell outside of your country. And of course, we provide most of the services inside with our employees, and some of them we work with some partner that we have locally. Uh, of course, how we are organized, as I said, we have our branch, we have our subsidiary in Dubai, where there are some of our colleagues that work they where they work every day, and but also we are in Europe at the moment. I'm in Milano at this moment, and of course, in people in Europe usually talk with the headquarters and the manager of European companies, and we decide which kind of services and the strategy that has to be developed in these countries. And then my colleague will implement all the service locally. This is and also our knowledge is quite wide because we work with a lot of service, with a lot of industries. Also because we don't sell for our customers, so we don't need a specific knowledge of a specific industry. Of course, we are in this market since for many years, so we have a lot of experience that we have done in the past. It's important to say that this company, GNMX, belongs to a wider network. Our big father, we have another company up and running very well in USA, where we provide the same services, but we have a much more customer in that country. And also we are present. We are in other places where you see the orange circle. What we do three kinds of services. First of all, we do advisory. We try to suggest managers and owners and entrepreneurs how to establish and work in these countries. We all the time we push managers to make market analysis and feasibility plans to understand very well what to expect when they want to invest in these countries. We look also for some, besides the financing in Emirates and Saudi. We support companies to have a certification of visas, and of course, we support them in legal and tax advices. Our core business is to host the company, a European company, in our offices. But what we do, as I told in advance before, what do we do? Our customers are mainly they have a branch or LLC in US, in Emirates. It means that in Saudi, it means that we are able to set up a branch or LLC from zero, and to make we are able to follow all the corporate compliances for our customer. But above all, we provide through our local employees all the operation services needed to run the company from the administration and customer service point of view. We deal with all the logistic issues, purchase order, and whatever. So what we do is whatever it is needed to run the business in for our customer, except selling for them. We don't sell for customers, and we don't produce, of course, for the customer, but we run the company on the other side. Um, Also, what we do is to recruit people for our customers based in these countries, and we search for plan for sites where to stock products. So we search for warehouse, or we search on sites where to implement the plans. Last but not least is the M&A and greenfield. It means that we sometimes we are asked to look for companies to buy in this country, because some company want to already they want to be ready to sell immediately without going through a commercial branch over there, and also we're able to follow companies that want to build up a new plant in this country. This is very important. This is very important. So we are specialized in M&A and greenfield in these countries. What we can say that Saudi, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi, UAE, what we can say is one of the best place where to make business in the world. It is said by the World Banking ranking. It is 16 in the ranking, much better placed versus other European countries. Of course, the bureaucracy is still high, and Saudi Arabia is at the moment 62, and we know that many European companies are well below 62. So, and also Saudi Arabia, we can say that still the bureaucracy is very, very high, but some regulation or some requirement are becoming much easier very quickly. So now I can ask my colleague to introduce himself and to start talking about Middle East and Emirates.
Thank you, Mauro. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kamal Hakim. If you can't tell from my name, originally Lebanese, so I've traveled to this part of the world extensively. My family background is from there, but I grew up in the US, and now I'm based in the headquarters of Gen in Milan, Italy. And Mauro asked me to speak a little bit about the geopolitics about doing business in the UAE, and specifically my area of focus is also UAE. So I'll give you some pointers, what to expect in the next few years, and if anybody has some questions, please feel free to leave it down in the Q&A section throughout the webinar. Mauro and I will try our best to answer all of your questions. So right now, as we're about halfway through 2025, there have been many changes, many new um, waves of uncertainty taking place. I would say the biggest one that's been happening for a while, for 70 years, and now it's heating up, is the conflict in Israel, between Israel and Gaza. And right now, with Donald Trump in office in the US, he came into the presidency of the US with a different vision, a different mindset than the previous administration. Therefore, there's still some more uncertainty in that region. And if you look at the map, every country that's in dark blue is at most risk in terms of doing business, in terms of just surviving. However, if you look down where there's Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and Oman, they're considered the least at risk. Part of the reason why is because they're kingdoms that are heavily reliant on oil. They've subsidized a lot of their industries, and they're spending billions, if not trillions, of dollars to invest in their economies to start the shift away from oil. And so I assume the reason why many of you are watching today is to understand what are these investments and how can you profit off of them and how can you actually take advantage of it. Beyond the opportunities, I wanted to point out a couple more risks, mostly in Egypt, Lebanon, Syria. Just a few months ago, the Syrian government was overthrown. So right now, there's a lot of hope and optimism between Saudi Arabia, UAE, and also the United States that there will be some relief of sanctions with Syria. There will be further investments to try to stabilize the economy of the region and counteract the balance of Iran, which has been um, at least the last 20, 30 years, meddling a lot in the region to cause some instability. So I give this to you as an overview of where we stand now. Now I'm going to focus on the part why you're really here, which is um, where should you go in the Middle East? Um, as you all know, the oil is the number one source of economic growth for many of these countries, specifically in the Gulf region. What can we expect now that Trump is in office in the United States? And I'm going to mention Trump a lot here because not only he's the president of where I grew up, but a lot of his policies affect the global economy and specifically in terms of the economy of the Gulf because he's so pro drilling, pro oil, more so than any president in recent history. The reason why this can affect the economy of the Gulf region is because if the US starts drilling more oil and exporting more oil, then the overall price will go down. And when the price goes down, this can negatively affect the income, the revenue streams for these countries in the Gulf that so heavily rely on it for their GDP. Another factor, which is something to still keep an eye out, which changes every day, is the war between Russia and Ukraine. If Donald Trump and the US government now keep a pro-Russia stance towards Ukraine, and some sanctions start to be lifted, which this is just speculation, nothing has been mentioned in this point yet. But if that happens, Russia will also increase its production of oil to help sell oil and boost their economy, which lowers revenue for the GCC countries in the Gulf. So this is the overarching situation where we find ourselves in now. The main countries, whenever somebody reaches out to us and they say they want to go to the Middle East, they're mostly talking about the UAE, Saudi Arabia, or Qatar. The reason for those is because the UAE and Saudi are much more developed than some of the other countries that are on the list. Specifically, the UAE for the last 2, 3 decades, maybe 4 decades, has really invested in internationalization. So they have systems in place for foreign investors. They have many ways, many avenues to actually enter the country, to set up a business on your own without a foreign partner, to open up a bank account and to conduct business. So that's why we put UAE as number one, followed closely by Saudi Arabia, because although Saudi Arabia is much more wealthy and they're investing way more money now in their economy to attract foreign investment. It's a fairly new, recent phenomenon, I would say the last decade or so. And with that comes a little bit of a risk because they're still trying to figure out the bureaucracy and figuring out how to really support these businesses. But it is still a hot country to look into. Qatar and Oman are smaller countries. They rely less on they rely more as a percentage of their economies on oil, but they're much smaller economies and they're less developed for foreign investors. Whereas Bahrain and Kuwait are very heavily dependent on oil. They're tiny countries. Basically, the whole economy is set up around that in Kuwait. Bahrain is a tiny island that let's say is very close with Saudi Arabia, and it's an outpost for many people who want to go vacation for the weekend. They go to Bahrain because it's more relaxed and I guess more easygoing, but it's much smaller, less natural resources, and while it is somewhere that's interesting to invest in, it's not one of the key players at the moment. What are some continued risks? So, as I mentioned before in the past few slides, there's a lot of optimism, especially now with the new president of the United States, Donald Trump. He has very close relationships, personal relationships with some of the leaders of this region. So there is hope. But with the hope, we still need to take a look at what are the risks. Right now, there are still uncertainties about the global economy. So while there is hope in the GCC, if the global economy is unstable, that it's something to look into before entering a new market. Uh, the cost of the US dollar. So when we first look at where we're going to enter into the market, we want to see how our product can compare if we're able to import our product being the European products. And now the US dollar has seen some fluctuations. However, the US dollar is the currencies of these countries are pegged to a certain exchange rate with the US dollar. So even though there are some key fluctuations, it's important to keep in mind what is your product and making sure that the price that you import it at will be let's say, feasible for long-term success. I mention this only because we also work extensively with the US. And right now, with the tariffs, people have been calling us left and right, trying to figure out what's the best strategy for their long term. I can say that long term in the GCC is a much more stable place, which is crazy to say right now. But looking at how you can plan, it's easier to plan there than it is in the United States because things change so quickly in the US. Oil prices are still critical. Of course, if the price of oil goes down, it will hurt the overall economy of the region. And then the banking sector liquidity is something to look into. Now, my overall assessment. So, in the previous slide, I mentioned that the UAE and Saudi Arabia were probably the top two countries to invest in at the moment if you're looking to have a regional base. The reason why I wanted to focus more on UAE now, and later on, Mauro is going to speak to the benefits of Saudi Arabia. First and foremost, there's a track record. It's been open to foreign investment for quite some time now. They are actively trying to recruit companies to come and start a business in their country. There are a variety of ways and schemes to actually open your business, free zone versus mainland. In just a bit, I'll talk about the differences there. Um, the United Arab Emirates, they consider themselves to be like a must-be country if you want to have a base in the Middle East. Geopolitical tensions are something that the UAE has been balancing successfully for a few decades now. So there is a long-term history, and the real estate market in Dubai and Abu Dhabi especially, is growing strongly. Lots of foreign investment. Now we see Disney announced a few weeks ago they're going to open up a park in Abu Dhabi, which is just the latest stamp of approval for the country and for the city of Abu Dhabi. When looking at entering into the UAE or any country in general, but specifically for the UAE and Saudi Arabia, you must have a medium long-term approach. Because while when you enter into these markets, you're entering for access to the market and also for the benefits that attracted you there, such as lower taxes and ability to do business across borders. There is a much higher threshold of bureaucracy as compared to doing business in other countries like the United States. Uh, to open up a company in the UAE, just to give you a simple example, it costs a lot more than doing in the United States, depending on the type of business and service that you provide. And it also takes a lot longer. There are many licenses that you must apply for. Doing so alone without a partner in the UAE is challenging, not because the language difficulty, because many of the documents in the UAE are in English. Many of the bureaucrats, many of the people you talk to speak English. But because everything changes so rapidly from day to day, there could be a new rule, a new law, a new way of doing things. So we like to advise a 3 to 5 year stretch before actually seeing significant growth, or hopefully 50 years plus. The first step is analyzing whether or not your business will be successful in the UAE, if the product that you are trying to sell is something that the local people are attracted to, defining your strategies and objectives, making sure you have the right partner. I'm going to emphasize again, in the UAE, it's really important to have a local partner. The local partner could be an internationalization company such as ours that does business across the world. It could be somebody locally there that has experience, but doing it alone is very, very challenging. And then once you start getting there, you can start applying for visas, you can look for office spaces, you can really get going with your business. You want to evaluate the results and fine-tune the strategies moving forward. Now, when you open up a company in the Emirates, usually every year you have to renew the license. So every year you must sit down and take a look at your strategy to see how it's improved, what you can do to do better. But you must file the paperwork every year, and the bureaucracy is something that can catch up to you if not planned for in advance. How can you be present? So once you are actually present, you want to start selling your product from Europe. We are based here in Italy, so this is why I wrote Italy here. But in general, Europe. I know we've got French, German, and also Swiss people watching today. So thank you for watching us. But it here I put representation through agents or distributors because similar to how our suggestion is to work with somebody local to start your business, having the right people or knowing the right people on the ground will help you tremendously to expand into whatever market that you are doing. So let's say you are a company who wants to open up a restaurant, for example, knowing somebody there who has connections with distributors that can actually call the people one to one is very important. Reputation in these countries is everything. Your name, your personal name, besides just the name of your brand, means more than the actual brand. So you, as a representative of your company, must have personal relationships with the people you are doing business with in the UAE. As somebody from Arab descent, it's very, very important. First impressions are key as well. Now, what are the types of businesses that you can open up? I will go in here and share with you how to actually enter into the UAE market. The first way, the first method of entering could be to start an export business or a joint venture with a local partner, or actually acquiring a local business that's already established, already has connections, already has uh, um proven success in the country. If you were to start your own company, you need to start with a legal entity and either choosing between a subsidiary or an independent company. And then either if you want to do business in the mainland or in a free zone. What are free zones? Free zones are special regions throughout the Emirates that are set up in order to attract foreign investors to set up their businesses there, to basically conduct business with foreign countries with no taxes, no taxation on many of the activities. So it's called a free zone. It's located on the mainland. So each free zone, there are about 50 free zones in the UAE. Each free zone is focused on a specific sector. There are some for IT, for finance, whatever you're looking for, you'll find a free zone. And each free zone specializes in something to help you succeed. So if you were to sign up for your company in a free zone for IT, perhaps the different resources they have available to you are will give you the boost that you need to succeed versus the mainland, where mainland basically just means opening a company in the country to access the local market. If you decide to go with a branch, this is a direct way to establish a presence with limited investment. So perhaps you just want to explore the market before expanding throughout the Middle East. You want to see how your product does or your service. We would recommend to open up a branch in the UAE in order to explore these new markets. You can either do it in the mainland or the free zones. And one of the benefits are that there are no startup capital and it does not require a local shareholder, which this is a big change from the past. I think maybe 5, 6 years ago, they changed the rule, whereas before then you need to have a local partner signed up co-owning the business. Now it's not a requirement anymore, which is a very big benefit. Now, if you were to open up your company in one of the free zones, the advantage is that you own 100% of your company. There are no customs duties and no taxations. This allows operations within the free zone, so you can conduct business with other companies located within your specific free zone and also with countries outside of the free zone. So let's say you are based in Germany, you open up the free zone, you trade freely between the two. Great. If you were to conduct business with the UAE mainland, uh, for many occasions, it's low tax, low to no tax, but you would still need to file customs paperwork even to do business with the mainland or with other free zones in the UAE. Now, in the mainland, why would you think to open up a company in the mainland if opening up a company in the free zone is so lucrative? Well, not every company you can open in the mainland. Think, for example, production plants, restaurants, businesses for the local population that you're trying to attract. The difference also is that it requires a substantial investment. Um, Whenever you are opening a company, either mainland or free zone or wherever, depending on the type of company that you have, there are different regulations as to what is the office space size that you need. So if you are a consulting company, you are still required to have an office space, but the office space dimensions that the government requires will be much less than having a restaurant or a production facility or a warehouse. Just by definition, it's like that, but it's also written into their code. So, of course, as any company would do when entering into a new country, you need to start by defining the business type and the name. One thing to note is that in the legal name of the company, it's prohibited to use anything that references the country. So, UAE, Dubai, Emirates, anything that might trick people into thinking that it's a company associated with the government is not allowed in the legal name, but you can always DBA, do business as. Once you do that, you draft the memorandum of association, which is the fundamental agreement of the company. In this memorandum of association, you will list what is the business activity so that your local business partner or representative can advise you on what is the best legal type of business to go under, where you should open up your company in the mainland, and how much office space that you will need. Then you'll go into the next step, which is to organize the employee contracts and insurance. Now, as most of everybody here watching is European, employee contracts come second nature to you. But as an American, it was eye-opening to me to see just the extent of the bureaucracy needed to hire somebody in terms of their insurance, in terms of the paid vacations, in terms of making sure they fly back to their home country if they're a foreign worker. But for our European clients, for them, they don't bat an eye on it. Now, if you're looking to actually move yourself to Dubai or to the UAE, there are options. There are different types of visas that you can obtain. I'll talk about that later on today. And then opening the bank account is one of the activities in which we've struggled the most, just personally for Gen Emirates on obtaining for our own company. Thankfully, we've overcome that step. It's very difficult because the local government in the Emirates requires so much documentation, requires residency, but not just residency, but requires the resident to be a manager of the company and so on and so forth. And the requirements change from day to day. So when it's time to open a bank account, having a partner there to guide you in the process will speed things along very, very quickly, and you won't have to think much about it. And then finally, activation of the payroll protection system, the WPS. This is the mandatory payroll management system of the UAE. As I'm sure many of you know, there's no payroll taxes on income. So the only thing you need to keep in mind is that all payments to your employees are being tracked, even if they're not being taxed. Uh, some new opportunities that have just come about in the last 2 or 3 months in the UAE, specifically in Dubai free zones. So there was a decree that was signed that is going to allow in the next 6 or so months free zones to do business directly on the mainland. Why is this significant? Is because in the past, in order to do business in the mainland, you would need to have a company in the mainland, and this basically doubled the amount of work that our clients had to do. So we have some clients that have a company in the free zone and in the mainland, even if it's same people working there. They're two legal entities, two sets of bureaucracy, two sets of company openings, two sets of annual reports, payrolls, and so on and so forth, only to actually conduct business and be with locals there. Now, they've set up this system which allows these free zone companies to do business in the mainland. More details are to come by September, October. Also, in terms of taxation, what will take place, it's still not very clear, but it is a benefit. And there's three different licensing options in this scheme. The first one is to have a branch license within the emirate based on the company you have in the free zone. So just obtaining a license rather than opening a new company and getting a new office and staff and so on. The second option is to have a branch license operating out of the free zone. So you can keep your office in the free zone and just get a license that says you're authorized to do business on the mainland. And the third option is a temporary permit, which is valid for 6 months. Let's say you have a specific project or a specific client or partner that you want to do one key task with, then you can obtain this kind of permit. It's cheaper, faster, and easier to obtain. Work visas are relatively simple to obtain in the UAE. Again, as compared to the US and also in Europe, is pretty difficult. The reason why it's a lot more simple in the UAE is because they are actively trying to recruit new people to come into the UAE, even if there's no taxation. They want to grow their company, their economy, and they want smart, bright people to come and work for foreign companies. Uh, for if you open in a free zone or even in the mainland, depending on what's the scheme or which part of the country you open your business in, you may have one or two free work visas included in your package, which you can always extend and create. While it's easy to obtain the work visa permissions, let's say, actually receiving the permit in hand is a lengthy process. It could take 1 to 2 months. It includes interviews, fingerprint scans, blood work, health inspections. So anybody can get one of these visas if they work for their company, but the process of doing so is dragged out, which is another reason why it's good to have a local partner. If you yourself are looking to invest in the UAE, there are options. There are investor visas, Goldman visas, which also require the health inspections and whatnot that I talked about, but they're not tied to the company and they are also quick and easy to obtain. So now I turn it over to Mauro to talk about Saudi Arabia. And please, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you for your time. And of course, if you have a specific question for us, just place in the chat box, and we try to answer immediately. I have seen that we have received some already some question, and I already answered answer to some of them. So let's talk about Saudi Arabia. First of all, we have to say that Saudi is a monarchy, Islamic monarchy, and the king is the president. There is the king that is the commander in chief of everything, of course, of the armed forces. It is an Islamic state. The territory is very large. It means that to make a comparison, if we put together France, Italy, Germany, Spain, so Saudi is larger than these four countries together. So the logistic part section, the logistic issues are very important. There are more or less 35 millions of inhabitants, very young. 30% are foreigners, but and later we'll talk about the education, because to grow from the population from the education point of view, the king has imposed a regulation that it is called Saudization. At the moment, the economy is based on the oil, because 70% of the world total reserve are in this country. It is the largest oil exporter in the world. And of course, they want to reduce the dependence on the oil and gas sector. So the government has decided to diversify the economy using the revenue from the oil from the oil to invest in other section in other industries. Why at the moment Saudi Arabia is very, very interesting? Because first of all, there is the Saudi Vision 2030. It means that the king has decided to develop the country. He has decided to bring the country from the Middle Age to the future. This is important. So, and they are doing that through some investments, and also from through some reforms from social and economic point of view. There are, as I said, large investment. There is the business climate is improving, is getting better. Many regulation have has been deleted. There are a lot of incentives for specific sectors, industries, above all for high technology and green economy. It is possible to own a company in Saudi, so that 100% of the ownership could belong to a foreign investor, and so there are the free zones. So, what is the Vision 2030? It is a strategic plan to develop the country, to reduce the dependence from the oil industry, and to develop all the industries in India, in Saudi, and above all to allow the people to grow from the social point of view. As I told you, as I told, there are a lot of programs that have been developed in this year, and of course these reforms cannot be done in one day, but it takes years and years. But what we can say that a lot of steps has been done. For example, from the social point of view, we can think that less than 10 years ago, it was not possible to hold music concert in public music concerts. So, and it was not possible for the female to go to gyms, and then it was not possible for women to drive. So, and less than 10 years ago, the religious policy was still in charge. So a lot of reforms has been done, and what we expect, and it is a relax from the regarding alcohol in view of the World Cup 2034 World Cup, and also. They say that in the future in the next months, it will be allowed to have to drink alcohol in some specific area, in hotels, in private homes, and whatever. That is a big challenge for Saudi, and what we expect that. Will happen soon, that also a change in the work week that should be aligned to the international norms. At the moment, the week start from Sunday to Thursday, and it will be changed as has been done in the Western countries. From the economic point of view, we will see what are the reforms, but in this chart we can see how many investments, how many projects has been developed, are in place at this moment. There are some in specific industries that are considered strategic. Some are projects called, there are some giga projects, and where the public investment fund as releasing a lot of investment, and there are some local investments in Saudi area. So for sure, what are the six strategic sectors where the Saudi is developing: the upstream energy, the downstream energy, clean energy, whatever is clean energy, clean green economy, whatever, metals and mining, digital. They have developed, they have invested many, many billions in the public sector to develop all the bureaucracy. And in another strategic sector is transport and logistics. In this chart, we can see what are the project in place. As at the moment, none of them is completed. But in this chart, we can see the state of art of the project. Some projects are the biggest project is NEOM, where 500 billion has been invested, and we will see the end of the project in 20, 30 years. Some are at none of them are still completed, but they are still proceeding to be completed. It means that there are still some space where to invest for European countries. What are the projects? The main important project is the line in the NEOM. In NEOM, the line is a city done in. It is long. Is length is 170 kilometers wide, 200 meters, and with a height to 500 meters, and the full completion is expected for 2045, and is planned to host 9 million of inhabitants. At the moment, the first part will be finished by the 2030, hosting 300,000 inhabitants. So this is the biggest project, and as you see, they are proceeding doing this project. But also there are a lot of other projects, a very interesting project. For example, Sindala, it is an island, a luxury island, well connected to the Mediterranean through the Suez Canal, and expect it is. They expect to host luxury yacht, hotels, whatever, coming from all over the world. Also, Hexagon, it's a floating industrial city. They are still on charge. They are still on. They are still building this project. Trojena, it's a luxury a resort where in 2029 will be held the first ski games, Asiatic games, in first Asiatic games. And so they are building this ski resort for luxury. It's a luxury resort. So also New Murabba, it's financed by the Public Investment Fund, and to develop the Riyadh city. And also there is the Jeddah Tower. It will be 2,000-meter high. More than double the Burj Khalifa. That is not small. So as you see, they have already started to build up the tower. Also, they're working for the Expo 2030, and that to attract a lot of tourists, business tourists from all over the world. And as you know, they will host the 2034 World Cup. It means that eight new stadium will be done from scratch, and they're expected 5 to 6 million of tourists coming in Saudi Arabia. It means that a lot of projects are still in place, and there is a lot of there are a lot of opportunities for European companies to invest in this country. At the moment, what we can say that Saudi Arabia, the value of the contract awarded by country, the Saudi Arabia is has reached the highest level, followed by the Emirates. All the other countries in the Gulf Cooperation Council are investing much less. These are the major contractors and clients in regarding the project. As you can see, who are the contractor, who are the clients that, and also what we can say that the China is the country that is investing a lot in this in Saudi, followed by Italy and India, South Korea, and Egypt. What are the industry where the contracts are is for sure the transportation, the energy, construction, at all regarding the water. As I said, 73% of the contract, the value of the contract are done in Saudi. Then the rest is in UAE, 20% in all the other Gulf Cooperation Council countries are they have only a small percentage. These are the contracts already awarded and the main contract, and also the value of the contracts that has been awarded at the moment, and how to get in touch, how to reach this contractor, how to work with these investors or whatever. First of all, it's better to contact the Saudi Investment Authority. Then it's better to collaborate with the local chamber of commerce, and also all of these this mega giga project has their own portal, digital portal, so we can access. You can access to this portal, and you can check what are the project that, and you can understand how you can reach, how you can cooperate and collaborate with this contractor. You can see also the name and surname and the role of the biggest company, and you can contact them if you're able. But of course, first of all, I suggest you to have a strong presence in this country, because they want to see that you are available and you can afford and you can invest in Saudi. You can see the portals of the Giga project, and you can see here you can see here the tender that are still in place. for each project, not each project, a lot of projects. So you can check, and perhaps you can try to understand if you can there is an opportunity. Also, how is possible to set up a company? It's important to set up a company in Saudi, otherwise it's very hard to work in this country. And there are only three. There are many forms, but for foreign investor, there are only three options: the LLC, the limited liability company, and it can be owned by only by foreigner, and the shareholder could be only one. The branch of a foreigner company means that the difference that the branch cannot has not a proper shareholder capital, and so all the obligation comes from the headquarter abroad, and also the regional headquarter. But we can you hear me? No.
Just moment. Just moment. My headphone is dead. At the moment, what we can say that from January 1st, 24, only international companies with offices in Saudi Arabia can enter in contact can deal with the local public funds and the institution agency to owned by Saudi government. It means that you cannot work without with the local institution without having a local LLC in Saudi. How is possible to form a Saudi LLC? First of all, you have to apply for a license to the Saudi Ministry of Investment. Then to form the legal entities is very complicated, and the bureaucracy is very high, and it takes 4 to 6 months. But you have to present all the documentation translated in English and Arabic, and to the government. Then you have to register to the Chamber of Commerce. Then it is needed the registration to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. After that, you can open a bank account, obtain the zakat and tax certificate. And you can register with the VAT and General Organization of Social Insurance. And also, it's very important to have a physical office of there, because otherwise you cannot have a LLC. What is important to say that Saudi is not a tax-free country. There is a corporate income tax of 20%. The withholding tax is 5% for when you have to bring back your margins. There is a withholding tax of 5% or 20% of royalties. There is a value-add tax of 15%. There are some custom duties, the tariffs that are not done. There is no tariffs for companies that are part of the Gulf Cooperation Council. And I'm sure that all the European countries an agreement to avoid the double taxation with Saudi. And it is important to say that there is an electronic invoice. What is a regional HR? HQ, not HR, sorry, HQ. A regional headquarter is a legal entity that serves as a coordinator center for the regional operation over multinational companies. Is that in Saudi they established this new form of this new form of entity because they want to avoid companies that large companies that to establish in Emirates and then go to work in Saudi. They want then the company established directly in Saudi. Then with the regional HQ, they can coordinate all the activity in Saudi. Of course, you cannot sell, you cannot produce, you cannot have a direct operation with the HRQ, but you can coordinate the operation of other entity that you have in Saudi. The steps to open the regional HQ in Saudi are similar to those required to open a subsidiary with 100% foreign ownership. And there is no minimum shareholder capital, and it is also tax-free. There are some news regarding this year. A new investment law has been enforced since February, replacing the old investment law in over 2000. The main innovation that included the abolition of the separate investment license. There is no longer required, but it will be sufficient to register with the Minister of Investment through a simply online procedure. And there is a law that guarantees equal treatment between Saudi and foreign investors. This is to protect against arbitrary expropriation, allowing free repatriation of capital profits. This is really important to protect the foreign investment. I try to be fast because we are out of time. Doing business, there are a lot of free zones that work, so they work very similarly to as free zone in UAE. Of course, the regulation and the requirements are really easy, are more easy, and also the taxation is zero or very, very, very low. And also the regulation about Saudization are light. What is important, what we do and what is important for is to make business in Saudi and also in Emirates is first of all to have a representative office or a local legal entity. This is very important. Second important is very important to have a local customer service for pre-sales and after-sales activities. It is very important to have local staff, sales engineers, whatever, and that could come from your own country or be hired locally. It is important to have product in place that could be shipped immediately in a few hours. In Saudi or in Emirates or in the country or the Middle East. It is important to invoice in the local currency. The contracts has to be done in the local regulation, and of course the certification and registration has to be compliant with all the local authority. What we do is to provide to we have people over there that in these countries that help the companies to deal with all these activities. As I told in advance before, we don't sell, we don't produce, but we're able to talk with the local authorities. We're able to run the business from the administration and point of view, and we are able um, to deal with the daily activities that are needed to run the company in UAE, from logistic and purchase order, whatever. So you don't need the local staff to run this, to deal with these activities. And of course, we deal. You can focus on sales or production. Also, of course, we are able to manage the payroll of the local employees of that. That's it. I think I'm sorry if I was really fast at the end, but I want to be within 1 hour. And let's see if there are some question. What about the proto digital server luxury retail stores? It is needed to do all paperwork or just benching is okay? Can solve the benching. Or digital for the luxury, what are the product or the digital services for luxury retail store? Digital services is very easy. There is no. I prefer you. I will ask this guy Farnosh to send me an email directly. We can provide detailed information about that. My company is looking for integrator partner for all Middle East countries where they're investing in traffic infrastructure. We have 2 traffic control and data collection radars, and we want to sell to this range. Any guidance and advice? The guidance is to get in touch with some local provider. And of course, if you want to succeed, you have to have your local or make a joint venture over there, or make a joint venture or have your own sales engineer over there. My company, or please get in touch with us. The slides, we will send the slides, and we will send the recording of this and the slides at the end of the webinar. My product is looking for what about importing food, which should be distributed through the MENA region? Would you rather do this business? Okay. Regarding distribution, what we can say that in Saudi it's not possible to distribute and sell on their own. If you want to establish a sales company, the shareholder capital is very high, and the license it costs a lot. The shareholder capital required around $8 million, no, because they want to control the distribution of. So this is very important. So if you want to only distribute, you have to go through our local distributors. So it means that I suggest to you to set up a corporation or LLC in a free zone in Dubai or in mainland in Dubai, and from there you can sell everywhere all over the other countries. But in Saudi, you need a local distributor. We would then we look to import and export goods for the. Okay, we would be the producer of our interest and will be the sale will still be agents. So if you will be the producer, it's fine. And if you are the producer of the steel, it's fine. You can set up a production plant over there this is what they want, what the Saudi wants, and you can sell the steel via agents. That's fine. You can sell. Okay. Do we need an official business plan if you want to set up a? Yes, it's better to set up a business plan, but I suggest um, to make a business plan first of all for your interest, because you decide, you see, and you can check what are the cash flow needed, what are the investment needed, and then you can decide. Through the business plan what could be the strategy to enter this market. And then you can use that business plan also to talk with the local partner and to set up the subsidiary. It's not needed to set up the subsidiary in UAE, in Emirates, but could be needed to set up the subsidiary in Saudi. Okay. I think that's enough. Thank you, Kamal, for your time.
Thank you.
And we will send the recording in a few hours. And if also the slides are needed, please send us a request. These are the contact details. Contact at gen-demirates.com, and this is the phone number. Please send us emails or whatever if you know if you want any update, any details, also for free. We offer also free consultation at the beginning for free. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.